That's right. Welcome back. If you're here for the first time, welcome. If you know me, what's up, you heathens? We back at it again. I'm your host. My name is Gav. I'm the host of this here show. This is One More Round Fights, where we bring you news, MMA picks, tips, tricks. You already know all that shit. Lazy's in the house. He says, I'm still high from yesterday. Let's go. Me too. Me too. As you can see how I opened up the show. Anyways, as usual, follow on social, scan the QR code below. Left side for main card minute, right side for one more round fights, as you already know. On the main card minute, we go live for watch alongs on Saturdays, Fridays, whatever day fights are going on. And on the right side, we do fight simulations, we do parlays, picks, news, all that shit. We try to deliver you all encompassing MMA community. Please follow on social. You already know YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Instagram, fucking X, all that shit. I might be live on not TikTok, Instagram today. Let me see if that even worked. Let me see if it even worked, yo. Because if it didn't work, I don't think it worked. Whatever. It's okay. Shit happens. Try to go live on Insta. You know, you get what you pay for sometimes. Let me check from another account. Maybe it's not working. All right, one more round. Yeah, nah, it doesn't say it's live. Yeah, so it didn't work. Shit happens, shit happens. It says I'm live. It says I'm live, but I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not on Insta. But we are live on Twitch and YouTube. So we're gonna continue with that. Again, if you win, I want to send your I want to see how much you won. Send it to the show. One more round fights at gmail.com. I want to see the email with how much you won, your name, and I want to post you. I want to show you off to the world. I want to say, here is my community that's making money with me. It's not just me on this week's wins, it's them too. Shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code One More Round for 10% off. That is promo code One More Round for 10% off. And yeah, unfortunately, I am not live on Instagram. I really thought I was. I really thought I was. If you need to change the stream key, remove this destination. Yeah, fuck it. Who cares? I don't even care. Maybe we'll figure it out next week. Let's get into it. We have a lot to go over today. There's so many things that happened. We had PFL go down. We had Karate Combat go down. We had BKFC go down. We had the GFL Draft go down. We had Inoue knocking out some poor soul. We had Dalton Smith knocking out some poor soul. We got UFC Saudi Arabia United Arab Emirates coming up next. We got a lot. Wait, was it United Arab Emirates or was PFL United Arab Emirates? Sorry, PFL was United Arab Emirates. UFC will be happening in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So without further ado, let's get into it. Topic number one, Usman Nurmagomedov defeats Paul Hughes by majority decision. Majority decision. The scorecards were 47-47. We'll get into that. 48-46, 48-46. Now, the reasoning for that let's start over. The reasoning for that 47-47 was because of a perpetual groin shot coming from Usman Nurmagomedov constantly landing on Paul Hughes in rounds 2 and 3, causing the referee to take a point from Usman Nurmagomedov. Now, Usman Nurmagomedov had to wrestle for his life at the end of that round because he needed to get that round back badly. Because if Paul Hughes had won that round, it may have changed the entire course of this fight. So as soon as we'll talk about the rounds before we get into that. So round 1, Usman Nurmagomedov probably wins that round. It's probably easy Usman round, spamming leg kicks, just beating Paul Hughes to the punch, everything. Round 2 was a closer round, but I still gave it to Usman Nurmagomedov. Usman was still landing those kicks. He was threatening the takedowns. Though he wasn't controlling the center of the cage anymore, he was landing more and dictating the pace of the fight, regardless of if he wasn't holding the center. So I still gave that round to Usman Nurmagomedov. Now, round 3 comes along. Groin shot happens. Referee takes a point, but it was already a close round. So you got to think that it was a Paul Hughes round and he was going to get that point. So it was going to be a big sway on the judges' scorecards. Now, Usman Nurmagomedov, with the great team that he has behind him, Javier Mendez, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, champions and all-time greats in their respective arts. They knew he needed that round because if he lost that round, that may be the round that loses him the fight. So they instructed him to wrestle. He shot over and over and over again. I think there's 4 takedowns, 4 takedown attempts in that round. Finally gets Paul Hughes down to the ground, lands some strikes, controls him for the majority of that last 3 minutes left in the round, and basically stole that round back, essentially making that middle round pretty even. If on some judges' scorecards. Now, round 4 comes along. Usman Nurmagomedov knows he needs this round too if he wants to win the fight, especially since his gas tank isn't going exactly as planned. He's taking deep breaths. He's shying away from exchanges so he can catch his breath. There was a clash of heads in round 4 that caused Paul Hughes to bleed down the middle of his head. And Usman took all the time he needed because he was starting to get gassed. It was the championship rounds. The pace was getting high. They had been doing a lot of things, a lot of exchanges, a lot of grappling takedowns failed from Usman Nurmagomedov. So it was looking rough for him. So he takes a little more time than expected, maybe wins that round 4, possibly goes to Hughes. And that round 5. Now, you could have given it to Usman Nurmagomedov. Now, some people had it a clean sweep, a close clean sweep. But some had it a clean sweep for Nurmagomedov. Some people had it 2-2. Some people had it 3-2 Hughes. It was a fight that could have gone many ways, depending on how you interpreted the exchanges, how you interpreted the control of the fight, how you interpreted the showboating from Hughes, if it was effective showboating in a way that Usman would get a takedown and then he'd be like, this is all you can do to me. I'm the one landing the harder strikes. So he taunted him in that way. But Paul Hughes definitely at the end of the fight landing big strikes up against the fence and putting a stamp on the fight, making it look like he was the dominant fighter, but he may not have had most of the control time or landed the more effective strikes that round. It was a muddy round to grade, honestly, because Usman did get some takedowns there, did hold him for a little bit, but Paul Hughes got back to his feet and landed some strikes on the exits as well. So it was a very tough fight to score, but I had it Usman Nurmagomedov through and through. I actually had it 40. I had Usman 1, 2, 3, 4, and I gave Hughes 5, I believe. But 2 could have also went to Hughes, so it could have been 2 and 5 Hughes, 1 and 4 Usman, with 3 going to Usman, but with the point deduction being an even round. So it could have been 47-47. It could have been 48-46. I had it 48-46. Fuzzy's in the house. Fuzzy says, doing the Lord's work, Gaff. I got you guys. I got you. So yeah, Nurmagomedov defeats Hughes, majority decision. Nobody really loses this fight. Nurmagomedov retains his belt. He's the champ. He stays undefeated. Paul Hughes put up a great fight in which some people thought he won the fight. I'm not one of them, but some people thought he won the fight. And he made a really good account of himself. He proved to us that AJ McKee win was no fluke. He is as good as he says he is. He is one of the best lightweight fighters in the world. He is a top 20 fighter in the world. And that's that. Paul Hughes is really who he says he is. And I see him having a lot of fun opponents here at the top of 55, especially in the PFL. I mean, tournaments, Bellator style fights. I mean, they're using elbows now. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. Lazy said I had it 47-47 like the one judge. So no matter what, Usman was going to leave with his belt because a draw goes, the champ keeps his belt with a draw. So No matter what, Usman walks away with his belt. No matter what, both guys win. 47-47, 48-46. Don't matter to me. But the right guy leaves with the belt. Paul Hughes can do a little bit more. I hope he gets a rematch. I don't think it'll be next. It could be next. I mean, there's not a lot of contenders there. You could always do that AJ McKee fight because it was a close fight between them until Paul Hughes landed that strike up against the fence that changed the tide of the fight. So you could do Paul Hughes versus AJ McKee again. You could do Usman versus AJ McKee, but AJ McKee should pick up a win. There's a lot of things you could do, but I could see a rematch coming up next. I mean, it was profitable. It was a big fight. A lot of people started talking about it. Fuck it. Book it next. Book it again. Book it again. But I feel like PFL is going to dissolve these Bellator belts. And we're going to make this one big PFL thing at some point. I just don't see them keeping two titles, especially since, they're not even going under the Bellator name anymore. If you go on the Bellator wiki, they stopped posting Bellator events. It's just all the Bellator events are on the PFL page now. Those are the telltale signs for me. So yeah, I'm looking for Usman to be in the tournament. He may get like a first round bye or something, but that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at him to join the tournament. I don't see any rematches coming up next. I think the next time these guys meet, it'll be because fate will have it. And the scorecards and the point system that PFL has will determine if they meet again. But we'll see what happens. Otherwise, Fuzzy says, lazy, you're never going to see a man carrying the Irish flag into a Belfast arena. It will be murder. It can't happen. You think the rematch should happen in Belfast? Lazy says. I don't think there will be a rematch. If they did do a rematch, it's not happening in Paul Hughes territory. If it was going to happen anywhere, they might bring it to the U.S. It was a big fight overseas. It could be a big fight in the U.S. So I'd love to see that. I mean, Paul Hughes proven he has a following. The Nurmagomedov following is always strong, whether you're in America or you're in the Eastern Hemisphere. So we'll see what happens. Moving on to the rest of the card, PFL Champion Series 1. There was a lot of fun fights on here. I watched the entire card from start to finish. And we're going to go in reverse order. Vadim Nemkov defeats Timothy Johnson, submission, rear naked choke. Round 1. I thought this was going to go. I thought it was going to be a decision. I did. I thought it was going to go to decision. And it didn't happen. Nemkov was like, nah, son, I was supposed to be getting somebody else. I get this short notice Elmer Fudd, Homer Simpson looking dude. Nah, I'm submitting this dude. And a lot of people had TKO because Timothy Johnson tends to get TKO'd a lot. But Vadim Nemkov trains with Fedor. He trains with heavyweights. I think he trained with somebody Timothy Johnson already fought. Yeah, Valentin Moldavsky and Fedor. Trains with both of them. Yeah. So he had the recipe. He definitely had the recipe to win because guess what? Timothy Johnson never beat any of them. He lost to Fedor by punches. He lost to Valentin Moldavsky by decision. And now he lost to Vadim Nemkov by submission. He lost every single way to that camp. Vadim Nemkov proved that he can be a problem at light heavyweight or heavyweight. He didn't look too bad at heavyweight. I'm not going to lie. I think that's the second fight at heavyweight that he's taken, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he beat Bruno Capoloza in his last fight, and now he beat Timothy Johnson. I think he's going to stay here. I'd stay here if I was him. I mean, I'm eating good. I'm still kind of in shape. I'm putting dudes out. Fuck it. Keep me heavyweight. Keep the food coming. Steak, medium rare. Thank you. Sprinkle some salt off it like that. where on the card, Nurmagomedov defeats Nathan Kelly. I really thought Nathan Kelly had a shot, but he gets submitted in round 2, 4 minutes and 22 seconds. He put up a valiant effort. He hurt Magomedov, and he stunned him, had him scrambling for a takedown, but he ended up getting that takedown, taking Nathan Kelly's back, putting the fight away. It's tough. It's tough. Nathan Kelly still looks promising, though, at featherweight. Can't wait to see what he does in the PFL. He should enter the tournament. He'll be fun to see in a lot of matchups because he's got hands and he could submit you. He's got a lot of submissions on his record too. So don't sleep on Nathan Kelly in the future. Just because he lost to a Russian, that's nothing. You know? Yeah, everybody's gonna lose to a Russian at some point in their career. You know what I mean? And he got his out early. Now Nathan Kelly could, focus, and now he's got that feather in his cap. He's like, all right, well, not a feather, but he's got that experience now, and he could use it in the future to his advantage. Ibragimov defeats Kenny Makanua. Unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. Everybody expected him to get the finish. He didn't do it. His opponent was actually mocking him most of the fight. Like, this is all you can do to me? You just take me down and hold me here? Like, there's no damage being landed. And then Ibragimov started to land some elbows. He got mad about that. So he was definitely just trying to win the fight. I don't know if he had an injury. I don't know what the deal was with it. He looks like a finisher, but he wasn't able to finish the fight. So maybe we'll find out sometime in the future. And at bantamweight, Renat Kavalov defeats Claver Fernandez, unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. It was a sweaty fight. Claver definitely won round 1. It was looking like he was going to steal the fight. I don't know how a judge gave round 1 to Kavalov because Fernandez stuffed most of his takedowns, landed a lot of strikes in the clinch, and controlled the fight and the center of the cage. So it was kind of weird to see a 30-27 in there, but those other two judges with the 29-28s, they got it right. And then on the prelims, we had Ahmed Sami defeats Tarek Suleiman, TKO retirement. He just gave up on the stool between rounds 1 and 2. I gave you that Sami pick. You're welcome. It was a catch weight of 199 pounds. At lightweight, Miroslav Akatamov defeats Mike Thompson, technical submission, arm triangle choke, round 2, 2 minutes and 50 seconds. This fight was so much fun. It was a brawl in round 1, and it was a brawl in round 2 for as long as it stood on the feet. Eventually, Akhtamov got the takedown, takes him down against the fence, gets the head and arm choke, and then Mike Thompson tried. He's kicking. He's doing that Marab shit, trying to kick his legs, trying to, get every way out of the submission, but Akhtamov put him out, put him to sleep. That's why it was a technical submission. And at flyweight, Hadi Omar Al-Suani defeats Ruel Penales. Unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28, 30-27. John Mitchell defeats Salil Tahiri. Unanimous decision, 30-27 across the board. And Hyder Khan defeats Mustafa Rashed Nada, TKO arm injury, round 1, 3 minutes and 18 seconds. You're welcome for the Hyder Khan pick. I didn't know he's going to break the dude's arm like that. If you want to see something crazy, go ahead and watch that because it looks like it wasn't even a hard strike. It was a front kick from Hyder Khan. Kicks him as he's backing away and then pop, snaps his arm over. You could see his arm just dangling there. He's holding it up against the fence like, oh, shit, my arm just fucking snapped in half. Yeah. Striking is crazy, man. You gotta really know what to do when you're blocking because if you just leave an arm out there and there's enough force on a kick, it'll snap your shit right in half. Your arm isn't that strong. The leg's way stronger than your arm. So when you're blocking, you gotta have a second arm to reinforce. A lot of the times, you can't just block with one arm out there. You gotta have your second one behind it to reinforce. So that was the problem that Mustafa Rashed Nada did, and his arm broke because of it. So yeah. And then there was an amateur bout. No need to talk about it. It was an amateur bout. Didn't even count towards their professional records. So yeah. And Lazy says fair about the Irish flag in the Belfast arena. Moving on. There's no fighter spotlight this week. I was gonna do Jasmine Jasudavicius before her fight on Saturday. But since this is such a long slate of things to cover today, I decided to push it off to next week. Next week, it'll either be Faris Ziem or Jasmine Jasudavicius, one of the two. Hopefully, one of them gets a win. If both of them get a win, shit, maybe I'll do the first double header. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But 170 happened. If you missed it, you missed it. Okay, but it was a lot of fun fights on this card. I talked about it. If we didn't do the GFL draft, I was probably going to do a watch along for that somehow. It wasn't on Prime or anything like that, but I was going to figure my way out. You know, I'm here for this MMA shit. I'm full DJing, you heard? But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, 170. So let's go over these results. The main event of the evening was a Muay Thai bout between Sunchai and Mawan. Let me tell you, if you want to watch a fight where motherfuckers is banging out, multiple knockdowns going down, go ahead and watch that Muay Thai bout. That was a fun one. This ends in round 2, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. They have a 3 knockdown rule. And Singha Mawan succumbed to the 3 knockdown rule. Gets knocked down for a third time. Doesn't win that featherweight title. So Sunchai wins. Remains champ. In an MMA bout, Fabricio Andrade defeats Quan Wan by TKO punches round 1. It was only 42 seconds. You know, if you got a minute to go spare, go ahead and watch that. Okay. It was for the bantamweight title too. Made quick work of him. Easy night. Go ahead and party your ass off. Muay Thai bout. Nabil Anand defeats Nico Carrillo by TKO. Also, a Muay Thai bout also succumbs to the 3 knockdown rule. This was in round 1, though, so it made quick work of my boy. Didn't even need the whole 3 minutes. It was 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and it was for the interim bantamweight title. So there was definitely a theme tonight. Definitely a theme tonight as we go through. If a bout happened on this card, it was probably a KO. And if it was a submission grappling bout, it was probably a submission. It was a very fun card to watch. If you're a little bored, you got some time to spare over the week, go ahead and watch yourself 170 if you can find it somewhere. But Muay Thai bout, Seksan Kwangwon defeats So Lin U by unanimous decision. In another Muay Thai bout, Bampara Kuyate defeats Joe Nadawut by TKO. Also, the 3 knockdown rule in round 1, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. In a Muay Thai bout, Sinsamwat Klinmi defeats Nazwet Trulio by TKO strikes in round 1, 2 minutes and 34 seconds. And in another Muay Thai bout, Johan Estupinan defeats Johan Gazili by unanimous decision. In an oh my God. In an MMA bout, Marisa Brevi beats Samat Mamedov by TKO. There was an injury in round 1, 2 minutes and 46 seconds. I did not watch that one. In a grappling bout, I told you Marcelo Garcia would defeat Imanari by submission. It was a north-south choke. I thought it was going to be an Imanari. I thought it was going to be, using his own, but it didn't happen that way. It was a north-south choke, round 1, 4 minutes and 49 seconds in. In a kickboxing bout, Masaki Nwari defeats Shakir Al-Takreti by TKO and leg kicks, round 2, 14 seconds in. And Jordan Estupinan defeats Freddie Haggerty unanimous decision, brother of Johan, in a Muay Thai bout. And that completes the 170 results. 170, I wish I watched it live, couldn't do it that day, but shit had to happen. Let's move on. Karate Combat 52 results. Now, we're just going to go over the important things that happened. Headlining the card was Shazaib King Reend. He kept his lightweight belt by laying an absolute ass whooping on Edgar Scrivers, man. I mean, there was never a second that this dude was going to lose his belt. He was just beating him from pillar to post into the corner of the whatever they call it. I forget what they call it. The pit, into the corner of the pit. He was just whooping him on his back. He was landing the better strikes. He retained his belt. He remains the lightweight champ. And then the 2 knockouts that everyone's talking about. Let's start with the first one, shall we? Robelas de Spania first came into Karate Combat and got a 4-second KO, right? So everybody's super excited to see him fight again. They're like, all right, is he the real deal? Is this his thing? Because in the UFC, he was getting finished. He was getting put on his back and he was getting finished, or he was getting unanimous decision, and nobody wanted to put money on him after that, right? But this time he makes a quick turnaround. And his opponent didn't stand a chance. He didn't even last a minute. All right. Knocks him down multiple times. 12 seconds. Ref steps in. Fight over. This motherfucker doesn't even need half a minute in karate combat to finish 2 fights. He's the Tom Aspinall of karate combat. Okay. You got to give him a big name next. You can't give him any of these Brigagows, these random dudes. You got to give him the best of the best. You might have to march him up for a title shot now after seeing that. Robelis Despania finally found his niche, and that's in karate combat. And he's going to elevate karate combat. I'm excited to see what he does and how things happen. But a wholesome moment, even though the finish was a little bit controversial. Aline Pereira makes her karate combat second. Wait, it was her second appearance. In her debut, she got a TKO. And just like Robelis Despania, she comes back and she gets a TKO again. Using her signature family left hook, actually. It took her 2 rounds this time. It only took her 1 round in her first bout. But hey, the power's still there. She still got the form of her brother, Alex Pereira. She immediately goes over to him and gives him a hug to celebrate the big TKO win. So that was nice to see. And then elsewhere on the card, Tyson Nam picked up a sick KO. Puts his dude right on his back, flattens him. If you want to go check that out, go check that out. Karate Combat. You might be able to see it on YouTube. Tyson Nam, great KO. Also, I think Ephraim Escudero was also on the card. I didn't check out the results of his bout, but yeah, Tyson Nam, Aline Pereira, Robelis Despania, Shazib, all getting great wins on this card. Karate Combat 52, another great result. I'll be excited to see what they do in the future. I'll be watching as long as they don't compete with other events that I got going on that night. I'll be watching. Lazy says Despania versus Sam Alvey for the heavyweight title. Book it. I would love to see that. Despania versus Sam Alvey, big lefty, big everything, going at it. Now, unfortunately, I would see that going the same way that most of Sam Alvey's fights have gone at the end of his UFC tenure. But I would hope for a spirited war. But Sam likes to bite down and throw. And Robelis has a freakishly long reach. So I don't see it going well for him. I just don't. Despania is about to be that champ over there in karate combat. That's all I'm saying. He's about to be the champ. Watch out for him. He's gonna be he's gonna be a big old problem over there. Watch out for Robelis Despania. BKFC Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Knucklemania 5 happened. And boy, was it a fun card. Me and Luke did a full card watch along on the main card minute. You guys could go check it out on the main card minute. Scan the QR code below. Scan the QR code on the left if you want to go to the main card minute. Scan the QR code on the right if you want to sub here. But anyways, going back to BKFC, Knucklemania 5 happened. Headlined by Jeremy Stevens, going into the hometown of Eddie Alvarez in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. And guess what? This motherfucker Jeremy Stevens made him quit. He made him quit. Wow. Eddie Alvarez still had his wife ringside, screaming his name the whole time. Jeremy Stevens didn't give a flying fuck. That boy walked in there, put these 2 bombs on Eddie Alvarez, knocked him down a couple times. knocked him down at the end of round 3, had him contemplating whether he wanted to even get up, took his mouthpiece out and just stared at the mat. And then his corner threw in the towel. They're like, oh, Eddie's gone. He's fucking. The Eddie we know would be like, put that shit back in, back up against the ropes, shrug his shoulders off, get ready. Eddie wasn't there, man. Eddie was done. His corner wisely threw in the towel, and I'm glad they did it because Jeremy Stephens was ready to inflict more damage. That's what he does. Now, I was rooting for Eddie the whole time until I seen a lot of the fights that happened that night. And then I was like, oh, brute power kind of wins this. And Eddie's never been a brute power guy. He's been a cumulative punch guy. But Jeremy Stephens, hardest hitting 145er, yeah, he's always been that guy. So once I seen that, I was like, oh yeah, Jeremy's gonna knock him out. And that's what Jeremy did. Jeremy put these 2 hands on him and he knocked him out. It was the end of round 3, in between 3 and 4. Shout out to me beating Luke on the stream. Yeah, Luke, just a little salt in that wound there. Yeah. So it was a corner stoppage, round 3, 3 minutes in. Ben Rothwell gets a big win. He defeats Mick Terrell. Knockout, round 1, 36 seconds. If you want to see a crazy knockout, go ahead and see that. More to come on crazy knockouts from BKFC. But Ben Rothwell uncorks a big right hand. Mick Terrell eats it and goes to sleep because of it. Ben Rothwell is now your heavyweight champion in BKFC. It's going to be fun to see who he fights next. It's going to be fun. Beck Rawlings defeats Taylor Starling. Unanimous decision, 50-45, 50-44, 50-45. Starling was just basically a punching bag in there. I mean, she caught Rawlings a couple times with some good punches, gave Rawlings a little cut here, but Taylor Starling was just getting pieced up the whole time. And you would think having like an 8-inch reach advantage that she would have, been able to do something in there, but she was, Beck Rawlings was proving, she still got these hands and she got a lot left in that gas tank. Pat Brady defeats Zach Kalmus, TKO, round 1, 53 seconds. Zach Kalmus was just getting pieced up against the ropes. The ref basically saved him. If he ate one more good punch, he was going to sleep, so the ref saved him. John Garbarino defeats Apostle Spencer via knockout. Great footwork from John Garbarino. You might remember him as the guy that picked up the cannoli with his left hand and slapped it into the face of his opponent at the weigh-ins. Yeah, well, this time he took his right hand and knocked his opponent out. So that was a very nice knockout. John Garbarino also proposes to his longtime girlfriend at the end of the fight. I mean, it was cool. It just felt a little out of place for a BKFC event. And I think we can all agree on that. Kane Tomlinson Jr. has the best knockout of the card without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care if Ben Rothwell's knockout was for the title. Kane Tomlinson Jr. defeats Patrick Sullivan via knockout, round 1, 37 seconds. Now, Ben Rothwell may have beat him by 1 second and have done it for a title, but style points for Tomlinson Jr. Knocks his opponent out with a right hand, turns him to the left with the right hand, stiffens him, starches him up so hard that his body freezes and then starts turning the other direction, almost like a pendulum. And then his falls back, his neck hits the ropes, but he's so stiff that he just bounces off. His whole body just stiffly bounces off the ropes like he's a board. Yeah, it was a sick knockout. Go ahead and watch that. Steve Banks defeats Joey DeWajo via TKO. Shout out to Steve Banks. If you know Steve Banks from BKFC, he won his last fight as an underdog with this crazy hairstyle. He's 6'5", huge. He kind of looks like Butterbean. And he cried after his last fight because he, obviously going through some stuff. He comes back this fight, another huge underdog, gets it done again. Steve Banks, round 3, 1 minute and 54 seconds, gets Joey DeWajo. What a win for Steve Banks. I'm glad to see great stories prevail. Brandon Meyer defeats Zadeka Montañez via knockout, round 2, 39 seconds. Also a great knockout. You should go check that out. Travis Thompson defeats Zachary Panel via knockout round 2, 41 seconds in. Also worth a watch. And then Phil Caracappa defeats Noah Norman via DQ. Don't watch this fight. It was a waste of time. Noah Norman not really trying to really fight, headbutting a lot, doing a lot of illegal things within the fight. The referee eventually just had to disqualify him, and the fight was over in round 4. On the prelims, Cody Russell defeats Logan Tucker via knockout round 3, 49 seconds in. And Babaludze defeats Brian McDowell via unanimous decision, 48-42, 47-43, 48-42. And that was the Knucklemania results, baby. Brian John in the house. What's good, Brian? Welcome. Lazy Bed says the dude on the undercard that got DQ'd for the late hits and headbutts. Yeah, Noah Norman that dude. Like, wasn't he like supposedly Native American too? Something like that. I'm pretty sure there was something like that. But yeah, Clayne Tomlinson, a certified monster. Yes, he is. Also a guy that looks way too good for BKFC. Him, Kane Tomlinson and John Garbarino. Those guys, their footwork and their boxing acumen look way too good to be in BKFC. No offense to BKFC, but I'm just saying these guys look like legit boxers with the footwork and the head movement we were seeing. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I'm expecting a proposal on every Knucklemania now. Let's hope not. Please, no. I don't want any more of those. Okay, that's not the place for it. I thought we were done with those. I thought we stopped those in Bellator. Don't we know love in the octagon? Love in the cage doesn't really work out. Just ask a lot of our scorned friends. Just ask Brian Caraway, JP Buys, fucking Antonio Tricoli. He's in it right now. Shit's going down. Shit, it's tough out here. It's tough out here in the MMA world. Now that the dust has settled, who won the weekend? One, Karate Combat, BKFC, or GFL? We'll talk about GFL in a second, actually. But I'm gonna go ahead and say GFL stole the show, just because of a lot of controversy. People saying, "Wait, I didn't even give my consent to get drafted. How did I get drafted?" A lot of people excited about it. A lot of social media about it. Everybody talking about it. So I got to say GFL won the weekend. BKFC was a very close second. If GFL didn't win, it would be BKFC that won the weekend. I would say. But I feel like GFL stole it, man. The draft was a massive success. Even though they leaked the draft order and all that, I would say GFL. But Brian John says BKFC. I could agree with that. I'm saying, if it's not PFL, it's definitely BKFC. There's no other competition. It's one of those two. And you know what? I'm going to go BKFC because the knockouts, there's so many good Yeah, I'm going to go BKFC. I switch it. The knockouts have to go. But GFL did put up, they put up a good fight. They got to do a little bit more. I thought we were going to see a bigger signing in there. Like, they basically fumbled with Tyron Woodley going number 1. Like, that was crazy. How Yoel Romero doesn't go before Tyron Woodley is crazy to me. But whatever. Also, Yoel has a weaker division. So, I don't know. But moving on. GFL. We had the GFL draft happen. Now, last time I talked about it, we went over the coaches. We went over the cities. We now know the teams, baby. So we now know the teams. Now, let me quickly tell you guys the important people that got drafted to each team. Now, let's start off with New York. Okay? Just because I have... Oh, shit. Well, I forgot to load up New York. Fuck that one up. But here we go. Let's just put the graphic up. So, New York. A lot of good picks in here. Not going to lie. Especially towards the end. Okay, so like I talked about it on stream as it was happening, Lance Palmer's in there. We got Neiman Gracie and Dylan Dennis in there. Alexio Lennox in there. Phil Hawes is in there. B. Nguyen's in there. A lot of great picks for New York, okay? So they have a very strong team, in my opinion. I think they're the number one team. If you guys want to take a look for yourself, you could take a second look. I mean, take a look at all these names. Jimmy Rivera's in there. Holly Holmes in there. Kai Kamaka's in there. Kevin Lee. How did I miss Kevin Lee and Chris Weidman? Chris Weidman may not be an actual fighter in there, but yeah. Kevin Lee being on the team. Kevin Lee? Come on. How is he not a number one pick? He's still in his prime, essentially. How is he not a number one pick? Crazy to me. I don't know. But the New York team looking pretty strong. Uh-oh. You think the GFL Draft League was coordinated? Might have been the biggest attention grab of the weekend. Definitely not, because it all happened like right before shows. They were like checking mics and all that type of shit. So if it did happen, I felt like it could have happened in a better way on one of their actual social media accounts, so they could have garnered more attention as opposed to just everybody clipping it and putting it on their own social media accounts. But maybe that's the new marketing strategy. I don't know. Who knows? Your GFL stock going to be at zero soon at Lazy Bet. To the moon, ride or die, 10 toes down. But yeah, GFL, man. Let's go over the next team. Let's do Dubai. Notable people on Team Dubai: Jessica Aguilar, Randy Field, Arlene Blanco, Timur Valiev, Tofik Masayev, Tyron Woodley, the number one pick, Derek Brunson, Luke Rockhold, Omari Akhmedov. If you want to take a closer look at the people on that team, here it is. Now, a lot of good names on there. A couple of names that I missed on there: Damir Ismagulov, a lot of gas in the tank there. And Ronnie Marks. Ronnie Marks still decent. Todd Duffy on there as well. So don't forget these names. It looks like they kind of punted on the female talent here. Not going to lie. Kind of looks like Team Dubai punted on the female talent. It doesn't look like they really got too many eggs in that basket, unfortunately for them. But let's see. Team Los Angeles. Team Los Angeles actually pretty stacked as well, in my opinion. Look at this. Corey McKenna, Jessica Penne, Elimele McFarland, Cynthia Calvillo, Aspen Ladd. They went hard on the female talent. They're going for the female wins there. They got a bunch of strawweights and atomweights. And then they have a lot of high weight class guys, but they have Ray Borg, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez, Tyler Diamond, Sage Northcutt, Tony Ferguson, Lorenz Larkin, Uriah Hall, Rashad Evans, Frank Mir, and Andrei Arlovsky. So it looks like they kind of punted on heavyweight and light heavyweights, but they went with a lot of strong lightweights, featherweights, and welterweights. And Uriah Hall too, good middleweight, So Team Los Angeles, pretty solid. Take a look at them here if you want to take a look at the full slate. But Dawoong Jung, still young and on there at light heavyweight. Good pick in there. Leslie Smith still got a little bit. Bantamweight, I said Cynthia Calvillo. I said Elimele. Jessica Penne, Solid. A great room there. They have a great room of fighters, great room of female fighters to sharpen each other. I like that. Lazy Bet says, interesting tidbit. After Rashad Evans' fiasco yesterday, GFL has removed the Team LA graphic from their Instagram. Instagram. Well, I still got it, motherfuckers. I still got it. Next team we'll go over. Team London. I think this is actually one of the middling teams. They have a lot of strong people, but a lot of old strong people. So Team London: Josephine Knutson, Julia Budd, Penny Kianzad, Brett Johns, Benson Henderson, Gegard Mousasi, Alexander Gustafson, Alil Latifi, Tanner Bosser. Solid heavy team. They got a lot of good heavy people on their team. So if we take a good look at that team, they got what do we got here? Yeah, they got a bunch of Swedes that'll be good together. They got Gegard Mousasi. They got a bunch of Englishmen that'll do good together. Danny Roberts, Norman Park, Tim Wilde, Mike Grundy. Yeah, they got some Canadians in there. Josh Hill, Julia Budd. Tanner Bosser. It's a solid team here. Team London actually solid. They're pretty decent all around. I said they were a weaker team, but actually they're pretty decent all around. I take that back. London picked up heavyweight Stuart Austin that subbed Aspinall. Got to be a jab at the UFC. Yeah, it has to be, right? I mean, it's only right. It's only right. And they're definitely going to flaunt that a lot. If you don't think they're going to use that to their advantage, you're dead wrong. Team Miami. Team Miami, y'all went a certain way with your female picks. I see what you did there. And then they definitely went with the home team. They went with a lot of locals on Team Miami. Hannah Goldie, Paige Van Zant, Kat Zingano, Maria Agapova. Then they have Marlon Moraes, Anthony Pettis, Jeremy Stevens, Gleison Tebow, Hector Lombard, Yoel Romero, Thiago Santos, Rebeles de Spain, Junior Santos. Team Miami. Big wins in other promotions over the weekend. Karate Combat with Rebeles de Spain. BKFC with Jeremy Stevens. Doing good work out here. Doing good work. I think Paige Van Zant's doing something somewhere. Doing justice somewhere. So who knows? But if you want to take a full look at the graphic of that team, feast your eyes. Yeah, they have Kayla Aracho too. You know. Eric Shelton's on there. Charles Rosa and Andre Harrison. Andre Harrison was very promising at one point at 145. And how can you forget Felipe Lins and Junior Dos Santos? Come on. What a team there. I mean, they're definitely going to help each other out. Definitely Latin-speaking team strong here. Latin-speaking team very strong here at the bottom. Very, very strong. And maybe Charles Rosa speaks a little, I don't know. Who knows? Last two teams. Let's go over them. Actually, last team. Let's go over it quickly. Team Brazil. Yeah, you guessed it. They went heavy on the Brazil here. Viviane Pereira, Alejandra Lara, Rafael Assunção, Renan Barão. Oh, he did get picked. Great. Patricky Pitbull, Alex Cowboy Oliveira, Douglas Lima, Antonio Carlos Jr., Mauricio Shogun Rua, Bruno Capoloza, Fabricio Verdum. Yeah. So as you can see, they went very heavy. They went all heavy guys and only a couple light guys. They said, who gives a shit? We're going heavy. We're going to dominate the heavyweight competition. Okay, so take a look at Sao Paulo, what they got. Basically almost all Brazilians. And then some Argentines. And then, what is that? Ecuador? Is that Venezuela? I don't know. Colombia? I don't know. But, yeah, a lot of Brazilians on the team. You can see they went very heavy on the heavyweights, Verdum and Capoloza. They went light heavyweight, Mauricio Shogun Rua and Antonio Carlos Jr. So they took one of the best light heavyweights off the board. They took one of the best middleweights off the board, Douglas Lima. They have also Alan Patrick. And they took one of the best lightweights off the board, Patricky Pitbull. They kind of punted on featherweight and bantamweight. I mean, they took Assunção, who's still got a lot left in the tank, but they got Renan Barão and Mike Linares. So yeah, those are the full teams. The GFL draft was pretty fun to watch. If you want to go ahead and watch our recap of it, go watch on the main card minute. Let's start here. Brian John says, I kind of missed the old IFL format, so this is kind of cool to see. I agree. GFL is clearly a miss, but I love what they're going for. LA Graphics still gone from website. You know why. Wish it was just gym team based, but I understand why they went the route they did. Yeah, it would get way too messy, way too complicated, way too quick from the IG Dave. Yeah, so that does it for our coverage of MMA and the GFL. Go check it out. If you haven't already, go check out the website to see if any of your old favorite fighters got drafted or are in talks to be added to the teams. They're definitely going to need some reserves. So if you think somebody should have been drafted and they didn't get drafted and they're still on the board, they might be on the team and you just don't know it yet. So we'll see what happens with that. But very excited for the GFL. Can't wait to see what they do next. I'm excited for the first fights and to see the first matchups. Moving on to boxing. Boxing happened this weekend. There was a lot of events. I'm only going to cover 2 here. Inoue KOs Jeong Kim. Okay. Now, Inoue did exactly what we expected him. He got a short notice opponent again. So this wasn't going to last long. This wasn't going past 6. And guess what? It didn't go past 4. Inoue basically pressured him the entire time, landing combinations all over the place. In the 4th, he was doing his best work. He hit him with a big left hook. And then Kim started showboating, thinking, yo, he doesn't hit that hard. I got this. Come on. Give me some more. Give me some more. Inoue obliged and proceeded to hammer this man with big rights. Gave him a 2-punch combo that sent him right down to the mat. He was like, yeah, no, I was playing with my food, bro. You want to talk shit? I'm going to send you to the canvas. The referee stepped in and it was over. Gave him a 10 count. Resistance was futile. Naoya Inoue comes away with the KO victory. Now, after the fight, the most interesting thing happened. Inoue gets interviewed, and this is what he says. He says, I observed that the great country of Japan has given Shohei Ohtani the city of Los Angeles, and at least for one fight, the great country of Japan will give this great Inoue to the city of Las Vegas for one fight this spring. Hold on to your fucking hats, ladies and gentlemen. Naoya Inoue is coming to the U.S. in the spring. I don't think it'll be in the spring. I think it'll be in the summer. But he says spring, so we got to take it at face value. Tokyo about to deliver. In other news on the card, Jin Sasaki won a unanimous decision by points. It was a slugfest against Shoki Sakai. It was 116, 112, 118, 110, 117, 111. All right. A lot of uppercuts. I didn't really watch this, so it was whatever. But after the fight, he calls out one of the welterweight champions. Now, with that performance, Sasaki was ranked number 3 in the IBF and WBO, and number 4 with WBA and WBC. So guess who he calls out? He calls out Mario Barrios. He calls out Jaron Ennis. He calls out Stanionis. And no matter who wins in the Stanionis-Ennis fight, or if Barrios wants to take this fight, I'd love to see any one of those fights. I mean, he's a fun fighter. He's not one of those fighters that points you to death. No offense to Shakur Stevenson or anybody else. So, if Ennis beats Stanionis, fuck it. March him right in there. If Stanionis puts up a great effort and wants to get right back in there, if Ennis takes some time off, do that fight. And if Barrios wants to step up, take the fight in the meantime, if he's not waiting for one of those two, either way, I like this combo. I like every single iteration of this, and I hope it happens. But otherwise in boxing, Dalton freaking Smith. Round 1? Dalton Smith, round 1? All right. Dalton Smith is the new European champion. He stops Walid Ouizza in the first round in Nottingham, England. Okay? Now, Ouizza overcame a clash of heads in that first round, but not really, because he ended up succumbing to punches and gets TKO'd in round 1. Yeah. So Dalton Smith wins the vacant European super lightweight title. If you want to go watch that fight, go ahead and watch it. It's only one round. It's only one round. Elsewhere on the card, Kona Walker defeats Harry Scarf, TKO round 11. Wins the British and Commonwealth welterweight titles. And then Ellie Scottney, the champ, defeats Miyamoto. Unanimous decision, retains her IBF, WBO, and ring super bantamweight titles. And that does it for the boxing portion of this show. That does it. I'm out of here. Psych. We got the upcoming boxing schedule. What do you think's next? Come on, guys. February 1st. You know what the hell's going down. I'm going to be there. Boots on the ground. I'm going to be there on site. Las Vegas. PBC pay-per-view on Prime. David Benavidez versus David Morrell Jr. 12 rounds for Benavidez's WBC interim light heavyweight title and Morrell's WBA light heavyweight title. This fight's going to be a banger. Do not miss it. Me and Luke will be doing a watch along on the main card minute. That's Saturday. Okay, Saturday night. Don't miss it on the main card minute. February 14th, New York, ESPN. Dennis Berinchik versus Keyshawn Davis. 12 rounds for Berinchik's WBO lightweight title. February 22nd, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on DAZN pay-per-view. Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol, the rematch. 12 rounds for Beterbiev's undisputed light heavyweight championship. And March 1st in Las Vegas, PBC pay-per-view on Prime as well. We have Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. 12 rounds for Davis's WBA lightweight title. I should be on the ground for that one as well. And that does it for boxing. Those are the upcoming boxing fights. Got good boxing fights this weekend. Don't miss it. Be there for the watch along. You already know it's going down. But now it's time for my favorite portion of the show. That's right, y'all. You know what the fuck time it is. It's this week's wins. It's this week's wins. It's this week's wins. That's right. All right, yeah. It's this week's wins, and you already know what the fuck is good. I gave you guys some picks, but let's talk about the card. We could only bet PFL on DraftKings, and unfortunately, it wasn't the best card for me. It wasn't the best card. DraftKings, as you know, when we have these cards, you can't do anything but overs and unders and money lines for the prelims. And then you could finally do outcomes, but just for the last like 4 fights on the main card. So it was tough. It was tough to make money on this card. I'm not going to lie to you. But first fight of the night, I gave you guys Hyder Khan, threw my single on him. $25 at plus 136. He brought back 60. Love to see it. Love to see a dog do something early. Broke the dude's forearm. Didn't make us sweat it at all. Love to see it. Thank you, Hyder Khan. Also, on the Renat Kavalov and Clayton Fernandez fight, took the over at minus 150. Thanks to Luke. Thank you, Luke, for that. Paid a little $41.66. Almost picked up $20 there. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little something light on this week's win. Something light. I also dabbled with a little under. I mean, we couldn't do much. So I took the Hyder Khan, Mustafa Rashaneda fight. Also took the under in that fight. Doubled the money up there. Something light. Something quick. But as you guys know, I gave this parlay out to the people. The one more round, Road to Dubai Champion Series 1 parlay. It was Mirzval Akhtamov, Ahmed Sami, Ibragimov, and Usman Nurmagomedov. Now, it was sweaty as all hell. But you bitches know that shit cashed. You already know, baby. You already know it cashed. It had to cash. There was only one way that was going down. And it was that this would cash and heftily too. And you know, if I put a parlay down, I'm putting funds on it, right? Because especially on a 111, I got to put at least 100 on it. So that's what I did. Plus 111, $100. Akhtamov, Sami, Ibragimov, Nurmagomedov turns back to 11. It was a happy day. It was a happy day for the one more round. So don't forget to tail next week. Don't forget to send your wins in to onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. I want to see how much you won too. And you know, it was a light weekend. I couldn't bet on BKFC, so you know I got a little dark. I got a little crazy with it. Started betting NBA, and Kristaps Porzingis fucked me. by 2 points, dick. Would have brought back $600 on both apps. But it's okay, Porzingis, because I got my get back on FanDuel. Had to do a little $50 parlay, put it in real quick. Get a little late game done, a little 10:30 game done. Norman Powell, James Harden, Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo. 50 to bring back 300. I know it's not MMA, but I had to do something to pad the weekend off to give us a little fat weekly wins. So yeah, that's what I did, and I got the job done. So this week's wins, a little short one since we could only bet on one app, and it was DraftKings, but we came away with a win. It was a positive weekend. That's all we could ask for. And was happy to see. Some things didn't go our way with some overs and unders, but we won. And there was another successful iteration. So I'm happy to say this was another good this week's wins. Hopefully we see some of you guys submitting for next week. Hopefully you tail next week so you can make some money. And then with that being said, let's get to our picks. We got picks coming up. UFC Fight Night 250. We don't have PFL coming up next week. We have no scheduled events coming up for PFL, unfortunately. We have no scheduled event coming up for one until January 31st, but we can't even watch that. It's all Muay Thai again. Nothing rising, Nothing in rising, nothing else there. No Bellator, as we know. The only thing going on is UFC. And guess what? It's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And guess what? It's headlined by my boy Izzy. And guess what? Michael Venom Page is also on the card. And guess what? Jasmine Jasudavicius and Faraziem and Terrence McKinney and Muhammad Naimov and Saeed Nurmagomedov and Sergey Pavlovich taking on Jairzinho Rosenstrike. A lot of fights on this card. I can't wait to see it, but let me give you a couple picks that I got. A couple picks that I'm going to be rolling with. I'm going to be rolling with Izzy. I always roll with Izzy. And unfortunately, I'm a big MVP guy, but I got to roll with Sharabut Magomedov. I just got to. It's in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, mind you. So I also should be leaning Imavov over Adesanya, but whatever. Adesanya fights well anywhere. I guess not in the last couple years, but and Jasmine Jasudavicius, definitely going with her. Muhammad Naimov. He's taking on Khan Offley. Khan Offley got put to sleep by Myron Santos on the Ultimate Fighter finale. Yeah, I'm not putting my money on that guy. Not against Muhammad Naimov, who only lost to Felipe Lima by a rear naked choke, who's actually really good. But he's beaten Nathaniel Wood, Jamie Malarkey, Eric Silva. I think I got to go with Naimov. I can't go with the unproven guy coming off the Ultimate Fighter. And the losers of the Ultimate Fighter never really do that well. So, yeah, I got to go Muhammad Naimov there. I don't know what the odds are going to be on there, but definitely going Naimov. He's probably going to be in most of my parlays. Sharbutin probably will be as well. Fun fight. Don't miss Terrence McKinney versus Damir Hadzovic. That's going to be a banger. Also, Faraziem versus Mike Davis is going to also be a banger. I'm going to like that fight. Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Mayra Buena Silva is going to be sloppy. War. Can't wait to see it go down. But those are my picks. Hope you guys enjoy them, Let's see these comments. Benavidez versus Morel. Come on. Next PFL event isn't until April. Yikes. Yeah. That's when they start the that's why I was concerned. I thought they were going to do the Bellator thing and do host some events, but I guess we're going to have nothing. That's why we got to rely on the GFL, which is also not holding events till April, and the UFC. So it's going to be pretty dry. Good thing we have some boxing cards coming up, because it's going to be pretty dry in the combat sports world for the next couple months or so. Lazy Beds Oh, Brian John says at Lazy Bed, if that's really the case, it's even more sad and telling. Yes, it is. Like 75% of their champions are Muslim. It coincides with their off season. Yep. So that's why they do that. But yeah, I think that's it for me today, y'all. I don't think I have anything else for you guys. Yeah, that's it. That does it for me. That's the end of the show. Let's do some housekeeping. Please subscribe. Main Card Minute on your left. One More Round Fights on your right. Also, like the video below if you haven't already. Get a little like in on your way out. Just give it a little boosty. Give it a little boosty boost. Please follow on social. One More Round Fights. We have One More Round F8 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, everything. I'm also live on Twitch right now. So if you're a Twitcher and that's easier for you, you could just, I'll also be going live on Twitch every week at the same time that we go live on YouTube. So yeah, go ahead and check it out there. I'll be going live with the UFC units this week. So don't forget to check that out. So follow on all socials or you'll miss it. Don't forget to email your wins in onemoreroundfights@gmail.com. You already know. Shout out to our sponsors, W.GG. Use promo code One More Round for 10% off. Also, hit us up. Be a sponsor of the show. Be a sponsor of the show. Stop being a bitch. Be a sponsor of the show. Good show, bro. Thanks, Lazy. Thanks. I appreciate you. Brian Johnson. Oh, why is it not showing up? Oh, there we go. Brian John says, great show, bro. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and get some chores done before the Bills play today. Root for the Bills for me. I'm going to have a money line for them. I got a Bills Super Bowl bet to win $2,000. So let's hope they win today so that it stands a chance. Because if not, I'm going to lose all that money, and that's just going to be sad. But yeah. Again, I'm the host of this here show. My name is Gaff. I'll see you guys later this week for CP units when we simulate the fights. We got Adesanya Imavov coming up. And then we have Pavlovich and Rosenstrike also on the card. We'll see if I could do any other matchups on there. But besides that, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace and enjoy some football.